All right, all right, all right. Stay wokers. What's up? What's up? This is your girl, Shantella Wallace, the co-host of the hottest podcast in the Midwest. Go to sleep, you gotta do what? Blah, blah, blah. Stay woke. Okay, I see our guest is here. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes to tap you in. How you doing? How are you doing?
Okay, there we go. I'm doing good, and you,
All right. Oh, your volume is
Miss
good.
Wallace?
Everything sounds great. All right, all right. I am going to just make sure this is on. Okay, yep, we are in here. Um, gonna wait a couple of minutes. I need to get a pen. I thought I had my pen so I can mark off. So that's all right. I'll be doing good. So how have you been doing, young man?
I'm doing good. I mean, I just, you know, trying to stay active, trying to stay positive, trying
Okay.
to be a good example, a role model for people.
I see
Like,
that. I see that sign of inspiration right behind you.
you see what color he is, though?
I see that sign of inspiration behind you. You know I noticed.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Let's give the people. It's just now 6 o'clock. I'm gonna grab a pen right quick so I can keep in tune with my notes. I thought that I've been doing so much here. Ugh.
It's the first time I ever did like rehearse. Like I made some notes myself, like 3 or 4 pages. Usually I don't do that. Usually I just go off the top of my head. Which I probably end up doing that anyway. But
There is nothing wrong with going off the top of your head, Samara, because the thing is, I take notes so I can stay, keep on my agenda because sometimes I'll go and be just, don't let me get on a passionate subject. But I have to be fair to the audience and talk about everything we said we were going to discuss. And sometimes we run over, sometimes we don't. But, this is a podcast that is for our community, talking about things that happen to us in our community, talk about resolutions and things like that. So you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So, all right, let me see who we got in here. I bet you Miss Juanita is going to be the first one in here. Let me see. Oh, Ashley Lawson. Hello, Miss Ashley. How are you doing? All right, we have Samar Akins. Is that right?
yes.
Akins. Samar Akins with us. I've been knowing him for years. I have seen this young man grow into an amazing young adult. He is a grown ass man right now. Samar, go ahead and introduce yourself and let the audience know who you are.
Uh, my name is Samar Akins, and I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as she mentioned, I consider myself, to be transformed from a person who was living a life of negativity to a person who living a life of positivity now.
Come through, come through.
So I'm just okay. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I ain't interrupting you.
Oh no, yeah, I'm just trying to do things, to give back to the community now. That's my whole purpose. Because as I mentioned, the life that I lived before, I feel like I, you know, took a lot from the community. So now I want to be able to, try to like redeem myself and give back to the community. And whereas I was setting like a negative example, what I'm saying, for people, now I want to set a positive example for people.
Right. I feel you on that, Mr. Wallace. When we had my ex-husband on the show, he was saying he did so many things to infect the community. Now he's doing positive things to affect the community. So that's the same thing I garner for you. Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability into your introduction. So you and I have been talking for almost a year now, talking about the systemic institutionalized racism. I know that was at the top of your list, but before we get into that, I mean, I just found out through you about the UNL diversity program coming to an end. Mr. Kennedy made an announcement that it was costing them about $800,000 into 2023. But I mean, I don't know. It was the diversity and inclusion. So I know you kind of took that hard just based on the things that you stand for. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I guess like first and foremost, I like to say this. I feel betrayed, and all of the students that I spoke to, they feel betrayed because of the chancellor, the man who made the decision was a African American man.
I seen that.
Yeah.
I
And
seen.
the students basically said that, a while back, he was basically just saying like he was going, like,
Something on my eye. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
he was just saying like he was just going to make the budget, just take a little bit out of the budget so they can still have the program instead of just basically taking the whole program away. But in
Right.
reality, instead of just, taking some of the money out of the budget for the program, he eliminated the whole program.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. I did a little research when you informed me of that. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, to take the diversity. First, before we go into this, I want to shout out Karen Curry, Jean Pendergrass, Shiffy with the blop blop blicky. Hello, Charlie Brown is in here. Hello and good evening. This is Samara Akins. So yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, how do you take the whole diversity? Ever since Trump came down that elevator, ever since he came down that elevator, the whole dynamics of this country changed. How do you take diversity out of anything when you still have such? I mean, this is the biggest growing melting pot. Whether they want to come to terms to it or not, it's happening. It's us here. It's all type of minorities here from all different types of countries. So for you to try to take diversity out of anything, that's crazy. And then it's really, really just shocked me that that was an African American because I was ready to pounce on them. I still pounce on them. I don't care. My audience know. I don't care what color you are, but that is crazy.
Yeah. And I think what's even more crazy about it, I believe that his position was just created like a few years ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
think his position was created as a result of either the Black Lives Matter protests that happened at UNL or
Mm-hmm.
the racial tensions, that was going on at UNL because of the lack of diversity.
Right.
So his job was the result of a push for diversity. So for him to, take away a program and to use his job in the opposite capacity that it was created for is detrimental. It's heartbreaking to our community. But I will say this, like, some people feel like they say, well, how are you pro-black? But yet and still they say I be attacking other blacks. I don't
I
feel
mean,
like I be attacking other blacks. I feel like I just be trying to, hold them to accountability. And the reason why that
exactly.
is two factors because of that. I'm just gonna be honest. Like even Marcus Garvey and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., when they basically analyzed, the Negro, they said certain things, what I'm saying, that I didn't agree with, and certain things I would never say about our people. But I will say this about our people. We have to be conscious of this and cautious of this and aware of this to the fact that since the beginning of our existence, a certain element, a few of our people have known to be traitors to our people. Some of our people are sellouts from the beginning of time. They have sold us out, from being.
That's where the crab barrel mentality come from. It started.
Yeah, but it's like it's persistent. Like it's not going to go away because you got to remember, like when a white man went to Africa and kidnapped our people over here, it was some of our people, some of
That
the
told them where
kings
to go.
and
Yeah.
princes even went into the deep to bring our people out to them,
Mhm.
sold them out for gold and
Right.
wine and swords and guns and things of that nature. And even when Winnie Mandela and Nelson Mandela was going through their struggle against apartheid in South Africa, Winnie Mandela got so frustrated with it, she got kind of physical and violent with the informers, the sellouts and the traitors of our race. She said
Right.
it is not to be tolerated. So we're going to say this that element exists to the fact of even when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated,
Mm-hmm.
to the brother Fred Hampton in Chicago when he got assassinated in his sleep. His bodyguard was a FBI informant because they
Right.
had like a COINTEL program. So anything we try to do positive in this country, the government has already said that they're gonna try to monitor it and they're gonna try to disrupt it, and in all actuality, they're gonna try to destroy it.
Well, and
So
that's what they're doing now by trying to make it a real white America by taking the Black history books out, anything about Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, anything about Marcus Garvey, anything, especially those who were were resistant to the caving in part. But I want to go back to what you said about holding people accountable. So, and my viewers already know, I don't care if you white, black, brown, or whatever. If you on the wrong side of it, I'm gonna call you out on the wrong side of it. And if you don't hold the people accountable, then that behavior will continue. The behavior will never ever, because, and I tell people all the time, if your boss allows you to come in to work 5 minutes late every day and you're not counted absent, I mean, you're not counted tardy, you come in at 8:05 every day, you will never, ever, ever try to be there at 8. You're going to try to be there at 8:05, but you might come at 8:06, 8:07 with the accountability, you're stretching that out. So because somebody allows you to do it, doesn't mean it right. And so if you need to call them out and hold people accountable, hey, I don't care what color they is, I'm calling you out. It does not matter. So don't feel any type of way for calling anybody out on anything if they are in the wrong. So, I don't agree with that at all, with people saying you calling people out, because you're not. You're holding people accountable, which you should. So I know you mentioned Marcus Garvey. So first you want to talk about, I know that you and I have been discussing for a minute, systemic racism, institutionalized racism. So what did you want to discuss on that? Because I have a few things that I think about it, but what did you want to discuss? Because you were very, very passionate and adamant about it.
Um, I mean, it's a lot that I want to say, but before I say that, I just want to say, I want to give you your flowers and props too, because to me, you're an inspiration. You're a motivation,
Well,
because
thank you.
you might not remember, but I met you like years ago in the Douglas County Jail.
I remember. I just don't bring it up unless somebody bring it up. I was just telling my mom that I said I met him when he was a young man, but I don't. If you don't say nothing, I'm not going to rehash it.
The only reason I'm gonna bring it up right now is because it's like it pertains, to the conversation, to the topic that we're having. Because at that time, I think I was like 19 years old, and at that time, I think you was like a sergeant, and you was a leader then. You was very active, and I never really had too many interactions with you. But as I got, more like politically, and socially active and involved in my case and just the politics and the institutional and systemic racism that was taking place in Douglas County, I remember it was tension between the black COs and the white COs.
Facts. Count it,
It
baby.
got heavy up in there,
Count it, baby.
and
You ain't
a lot
lying.
of
You ain't
and
lying.
so a lot of people, I mean, people had to pick side. They had to pick a side, you
Hmm.
know. And I remember I was like, damn, I remember thinking about you because I remember like a lot of the other blacks up under you, right? I knew they had already picked their side, and everybody, because everybody like was wondering where you was at, what I'm saying, where you was gonna stand with it. And then, what I'm saying, when you picked your side and made a decision, basically, what I'm saying, everything just turned positive, what I'm saying, from there. And y'all created a movement that has impacted and brought the change to Omaha that it has now. The CEOs, the black CEOs at Douglas County, and Ben Gray, right? We can't forget about
Right,
Ben
right.
Gray,
Ben
right?
Gray was in there. Ben Gray was in there. You
Yeah,
are
them was a
you
lot of
are
scope
1,000%
interviews.
right. I can't believe you remember that, because yeah, I was one of the founders of the African American Correctional Officers Association. I actually started meetings in my house. I was only working there for
Mhm.
6 months, and I seen the bull crap that was going on, the systemic racism among black officers and white officers, the selective application of discipline, and following rules and regulations. I saw all that in my first 6 months, and I was just like, Samara, I was like, I mean, what are y'all doing about this? Like, oh, that's just the way it's always been. I was like, oh, hell no. I said, we got
Right.
to. And to this day, and I am happy to announce that the AACOA is going strong under the leadership of Sergeant Joe Ballard and
It still
Portia.
exists?
Oh, yes, honey. Yes. I mean,
Wow.
it's
That's what
huge
I'm talking
now.
about.
We got national exposure. We had in our first couple of years, we had other correctional facilities and jails, prisons reaching out to us, wanting to know the blueprint of how we got started. And what people don't know, and I like to give everybody their credit. And thank you for giving me my flowers. I definitely appreciate that. It was Pam Tobin. I had the idea of let's bring these black people together. But what you said, So I said, I just told everybody, I'm new here. I want to meet people. I want to get to know y'all. I said, I'm doing a fish fry. It's free. Just come over to the house. So that's how I baited them to get in. So like everybody came. It was a couple of white officers came too. And then that's when I gave my pitch. I said, this is what we need to do. Boom, boom, boom. This is how we get strong. This is how we can make a difference. This is how we can make decisions in here. But you already know that it was some folks that came back, honey. I got called down. They called me on the loudspeaker about 3 days after the meeting. Officer Wallace, please report to the warden's office. Officer Wallace, please report to the warden's office. And I'm like, damn, I'm trying to think, what did I do? What did I do? You know, I'm trying to think, did I say something to an inmate? Did I say something to a lieutenant? But, you know, I'm just like, as soon as I get down there and say, oh, well, I hear that you're trying to overthrow did you have a meeting at your house? I said, what? And I said, oh. I said, well, I'm going to tell you this. I said, with all due respect, sir, I said, whatever happens at my house, if the police is not involved, I have no obligation to report it to correction. I said, just like me coming in here asking you who you slept with last night, that's not my business. The police was not called. It has nothing to do with correction. I said, now, if you just want to ask me a question, I said, I'll tell you exactly what I did at my house. And I told them, this is what I did. This is what I told the people. This is how we get power. This is how we take over. And he was like, oh, well, I got to respect you for that. And I was like, okay, that's what I did. But yeah, it was, like you said, they run back, they ran and tell that. So we start trying to weed them out. But of course, it was some that was deep undercover that they was running back, telling everything. So we made our conversations, even during meetings, limited. And then after that, we had a meeting after the meeting and talked with the people that we felt we could trust. So you are right. Damn, you remember that? Yeah, that was a movement. That was a movement. It's shout out time. Samara, we got Shafan with the blip blick in here. Jean Pendergrass. We got Maxine Hardeman, my auntie, watching from Oklahoma. We got Mikkel, Jackie. Mikkel, where you watching from? Jean Pendergrass says all history needs to be told truthfully, or archiarchs are to or the atrocities are to be repeated. That is correct. Thank you, Jean, for breaking it down like that. So this is Samara Akins. That is Akins, not Adkins. That's Akins with us on Stay Woke. Samara, what did you want to get into next? Because you had a lot, and I told you I was going to give you the floor. So and I told you I was going to do my research so we can have a good dialogue. So what do you have? What do you want to talk about next?
Basically, I just want to talk about, like, like the systemic and institutional racism, like in the city of Lincoln. Because like when Dr. Martin Luther King, when he got the Civil Rights Act passed, that meant that America was supposed to fully integrate. That meant that they were supposed to let us in, politics and everything else, right? So when I moved down here to the city of Lincoln, and I got to, doing a little investigation and going to the political offices, and seeing if there was like any diversity or multiculturalism in this city. And, I got shocked. It was like a culture shock. But it really started when they passed a law to abolish affirmative action.
Right.
Excuse me. Once they passed the law to abolish affirmative action, that means that they didn't have to hire any like
African minorities. Yeah,
for sure. And that totally disenfranchised us. And not only did the law change, their attitudes changed towards us. Instead of like embracing us, instead of welcoming us, it turned into an attitude like they were just trying to like totally like disregard us, disenfranchise, and dominate us. And it's sad, because they weaponized the law, the legislator, to be able to do it. So one of the main things I want to say is that when Dr. Martin Luther King passed that civil rights law, that means that, like I said, America was supposed to get integrated. But here down in Lincoln, I found discovered some facts that blew my mind. And basically being like right now here in Lincoln, like we don't even have no black judges. To my knowledge, right there, Lincoln has never had a black judge. If they did, it might have been one. Like right now, we don't have no black attorneys. If we do, it might have been one. Down here in the federal to represent, in Congress, right? Never had a minority. Always been white. You go to the Nebraska Court of Appeals. Never had a minority on it. Always been white. You go to the Nebraska Supreme Court, never had a minority on
Know
it,
that.
always been white. The Attorney
Wow.
General's office, never had a minority, always been white. You go to the governor's office, never had a minority, always been white. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, the federal judges too down here, the federal district court judges down here, never had a minority, never had an African American man. So that means that Nebraska hasn't been fully integrated yet. So if it
So
hasn't, go ahead.
so I'm glad you made a point on that. Tynell also said growth for you. Congratulations on the growth, just from the information that you said so far. So first, I would like to say in reference to the affirmative action. A lot of people don't know that they paid, and this is how Black people sell out so bad. And I can't even respect them. They just sell out for the dollar. I just can't sell out for the dollar, and especially if it's going to be
You
detrimental
could
to our
have,
people.
but you chose not to. You could
Yeah,
have sold
yeah,
out,
yeah.
but you chose not
That's
to.
not in my blood. I'm Mabel
Right.
Coleman's granddaughter. That ain't how I was raised. Do you know that they paid a group of Black people, not white people? It was Black people to petition. They went all over the states. This started off about when they started trying to get affirmative action. So they went state to state because that federal and state laws. Some laws are left to the state and federal. So they had people going to state, two Black guys and a Black woman going state to state to abolish the affirmative action.
Wow. Blacks.
Three Black people. They went across the country. They went across the country, and so many states had abolished it that's how it ended up getting to the federal, getting to the federal level. Because I mean, and that was just crazy as hell. And that goes back to what you and I were just talking about earlier, just about Black folks basically basically said selling out Black folks.
And that's exactly what's happening. And it's because of the system of institutional racism. It's a system. So they just become another face, and another body in a system that's already designed to
Definitely.
de- decapitate Blacks. When they said white supremacy forever, that's what they meant. They meant white supremacy forever. They meant the majority forever. That's in their doctrine. So one of the other unique problems that I'm facing here in Lincoln is that, in the state of Nebraska, in the legislature, they say that they are non-partisan, right? So that means that they're not represented as Democrats or Republicans. That means if you have a Democratic view, right,
Mhm.
you can't really express it because they try to say that they're non-partisans. Nebraska is the only state in America that has the unicameral.
Right. Used to be
Every other
two, Nebraska, and I think who was it? But as of 2 years ago, Nebraska is the only state has unicameral for the bicameral for the electoral votes. You are
Yeah.
correct.
So in the unicameral, and they say that they are nonpartisan, but that's not really true because the majority of people in there are Republicans.
Red state is going
They
to be red.
dominate everything. They
Everything.
say that they're nonpartisan, and they say that to get the minorities to make them like not want to participate, in politics and make them not even talk about it and discuss their opinions and beliefs and views because they say that it's nonpartisan. But at the same time, when they're telling you it's nonpartisan, the governor is a Republican. The elected Congress,
Right.
they're Republicans.
Okay.
The Attorney General are Republicans. They're
The
all
state is
Republicans.
red. All the
A
head
red state.
officials, all the head officials are Republicans. I think we've had, even when the Democratic. I know we had a couple of Democratic mayors, but even as far back as Nelson. Ben Nelson ran as a Democrat, but he was a Republican. He just ran as a Democrat. So they went in on either side, no matter who gets voted in. But I am happy to say that we do have some African Americans running for office here in Omaha and running for state positions. Terrell McKinney is a great addition. He's running against Ernie Chambers. I love Ernie Chambers. Ernie Chambers had his day. Ernie is about 80 some years old, late 80s, 90s. Ernie, you can
I think he
go in.
dropped out. I think
Did
he
he?
dropped out. Yeah, I
Okay,
think he
okay,
did.
okay.
I
I
think
was
he
about to say
dropped
you
out.
can reteach, retool, and
Yeah.
rebuild and give that to the young man. But Terrell been handling his business. Now, if he wasn't handling his business, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's time for him to go. Like Juanita Johnson, she didn't do nothing when she was in there. Now trying to kick up dust and curse out the mayor and all that stuff. It's too late, girl. You've been in there for years. You ain't done nothing. So I don't mind kicking people out when they didn't do anything. But everybody, even before Trump, but especially since Trump came down that elevator, every single person is partisan. It doesn't, there is, I mean, it is just in our blood. It's either this
But
side or that side.
they say they are not.
But that's what they say. Now they done told us we was going on a voyage on a night ship. Come on, get on the fantastic voyage, and they came over here, brought us over here in chains, pissing and shitting on ourselves on the boat, and did all that. They say a whole bunch of things, but as long as we know, and I can tell you know, and I'm glad that you are saying this to our audience. A lot of people are saying things to you. I said Lincoln is the worst. Vanessa Warren said Lincoln is the worst. People need to be truly exposed. And it's black on black crime at its best. It is black on black crime at its best when you stop somebody from progressing for no damn reason or because somebody sicked them on you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I don't profess, I have white friends and you know, I don't profess. There's a whole bunch of black folks I don't fool with. I don't like fake people. I don't like fake people. It's all about your integrity. It's all about what you bring to the table. Like Jean Pendergrass, she white, she on here every week. She know exactly what we talking about. She know our issues. She knows all of that. She is comes to all of our fundraisers, supports our scholarship fund, all of that. So when people try to clump one, you know, people into one group, you know, like all them, no, it's not all them, but we know this state, Nebraska is a red state in a very racist state. So you and Lincoln, we already know it's a whole it's a whole type of different systemic racism down there. So have you had experienced any of that in any recent jobs or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, like I've, so not to really put my personal business, but I will be transparent with you because it's you. Like I've not been employed this whole summer, right? I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had a job, this whole summer. Like, so down here, since they don't have affirmative action, like Lincoln is predominantly dominated by like small businesses, right? And what the government is trying to say is that they can't force these white small business owners to hire blacks because these small white business owners down here are saying it's my job and I don't want to hire blacks. Lincoln is totally rejecting diversity.
Mm.
Totally rejecting diversity. We got two blacks on the city council and a black in the mayor's office under the mayor due to the fact that the Black Lives Matter protest that we had down here. That's the only because the mayor wouldn't listen to us. But then when the protests happened, you know what I'm saying, to
Force them
appease us,
out. Mm-hmm.
she appointed where they allowed two blacks to get on city council and got a black up under the mayor. Now we got a black county attorney. But what I'm saying, all of this was the result of protests, was the
Right.
result of sacrifice, was the result of actions
Preach.
that we didn't
Preach.
take. It didn't happen voluntarily.
Preach.
It didn't happen because they wanted it to happen.
Say
And these blacks that they have put in this position, they are telling us that they are powerless in this system and this machine, this racism, this system and this machine of racism. They saying, there's nothing we can do. Like when they talk to the mayor, they saying the mayor is not listening to us. Like I have a friend, a brother that's right up under the superintendent. He got hired. Okay, they're hiring these blacks to promote diversity, but when these blacks go to them with the ideals and the problems of the community, the powers that be are rejecting it. They're treating them just like tokens here. They don't have no power, no effect in our community
right.
at
And
all.
that goes back to when I was having meetings at my house, and this is what I told the people. This was the game plan. I said, listen. So I was in the union, and so I was going to meetings, and I seen it was like 3 black people at every union meeting, and they had unlimited drink tickets. They catered food. So this just like a party for the people. It's only 3 black people, and most of them was kind of tokens. So I go up in there, I check it out. I'm like, okay, okay. And then I said, so when I had my meeting, I said, how many of y'all are in the union? "Oh, I ain't in that union. Or I mean, I said, half of the room was in the union. And I said, well, how many of y'all go to meetings? Oh, I don't go to meetings. I said, well, y'all need to. I said, because you can go there and get drunk as hell, drink all day long, all night long, get drunk as hell. They give you unlimited drink tickets. Go in there and drink. You get to eat. They feed you. I said, so we need to start going. So I said, I need a commitment from everybody to join the union. And then we need to commit that we start going to meetings. And I was like, okay, okay. So they joined by 80% of the people. I had about 35 people at the house, about 80% of them joined.
I know.
We went to the meeting, and guess what? Everything they voted on. Uh-uh. And I said, I said, this is how you make a motion. This is how when we want something done. So they didn't have the majority. All of us walked in, they was like, and I was like, oh, where the drink tickets at? They start passing them out. We kept coming every month. So then you got 2 drink tickets. You didn't get unlimited drinks like you did when we wasn't there. So we had enough people in there to make changes like you talking about. So we voted. Okay, so I was supposed to run for president, union president. And so we met at my house, said, who's going to run for president? And I said, whoever get the most votes. We did a whole voting thing at my house. Whoever get the most votes, that's who running for president. So that's how we going to get in there. So I won the most votes for president. And so everybody was supposed to vote for me. But it was 2 Negroes in there. Just couldn't help themselves. They agreed to the terms, but didn't follow through. So they end up, I changed the whole game. I came in there with posters, vote for Wallace, woo. I was passing out plugger cards. And they was like, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm campaigning for the position. And they was like, well, nobody ever did that. Okay, that's fine. But I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. So we were able to, I lost by 3 votes because 2 Black people that was at that meeting put their name on the ballot. So I would have been the president of the White Correctional Officer Union. The president back in the 90s, I would have been had they done that. So we end up getting to, we said, well, this is who we vote for vice president. This. We got 2 Black men in there. And we was like, well, what is y'all saying? You know what they said? We was like, y'all in there. Well, I mean, they just don't listen to us. So I'm just tired of saying something. I said that it was 2 men. And I said, that's why we needed some damn women in there. Because they wouldn't have just not been saying they're going to listen to me. Because I would have been like, oh, no, you're going to listen to me. And I would have brought it to the people. The brothers were so damn scared. We had a Black vice president. And then we had another high position. They did not do shit. They sat in there and was just like you said, those people you're talking about. There's like, well, I mean, they ain't listening to us. They don't never want to do nothing. They don't never want to do nothing that we said. And I'm like, do you think we wasted all our time getting this shit together for y'all to get in there and get mute and cross your legs at the ankles? I was like, oh, I was pissed. So I understand what you're saying when you go into those people and they say, well, they don't listen to me. I'm like, make your voice be heard. Make your voice be heard. That's true. Me.
So, but I understand like what you did. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Chantel. Like the situation between Omaha and Lincoln is totally different because y'all have a Black community there, right? Here in Lincoln, there is no Black community. There is not one neighborhood that is like all minorities. They have it. They did this, you know what I'm saying, intentionally, right? Like say sometimes, like say some minorities, some Blacks get to moving all in the same neighborhood on the same street in the same block. Man, you wouldn't. They do everything. They start the gentrification process to get us spread out. So that'll take away our power, taking away our voice. So we all spread out in this city. And like I said, by it being such a, the first law of nature is self-preservation. So the majority of these Blacks, they got bills to pay, right? So they like, they being dominated, by the whites, you know what I'm saying? So they feel they just, like you said, they get mute, they get quiet because they feel that, they need a job. They got bills to pay, So that's the difference between Omaha and Lincoln. Like we don't have that. We don't have no, like the sister down here on Sandra Washington on the city council, she down, you know what I'm saying? She real cool, but other than that, we don't have, people like you. We don't even have like lawyers here. Like the civil rights lawyers here are white. Like a lot of the people that's supposed to represent civil rights and those issues and causes here, they are white. But I'm gonna explain this to you, Chantel. What they feel about diversity here, they say anybody but a Black. Okay, so say if they got a job, right? So they got four whites in there. If they gonna bring in a Chinese, now they say they got diversity. They gonna bring in a Mexican. They gonna say they got
Oh yeah,
diversity. They gonna say they
yeah,
got a Native American. Anybody but a black. So that's
right,
their
right.
policy down here. If they got something, they strict linking is anti-black,
Well, what's
almost
keeping
like
you down there, brother?
the
What's keeping
Nazi.
you down there? Tell me what's keeping you down there.
Well, for one, like like I got kids down here, right?
Okay, okay.
But for two, like when all my friends, like after they abolished the affirmative action, all my friends start leaving instead of fight or run, they rather run. And
Mm-hmm.
it's never really been my mentality, to run. Like I
Right.
said, I've been here trying to, bring about change, trying to empower our people, trying to be an advocate and a voice for our people, thinking that I could do it. I thought I could do it by myself. Basically, I was
I
so
understand.
strong headed in my faith and belief and trust in God. I felt like I could do it by myself. But I'm just going. I have to come to the realization, and to be honest with it, like you said, this is a red state. This is a conservative state, and they operate under the supremacy, the ideologies of Nazism and white supremacy. They
Mm-hmm.
believe in blonde hair and blue eyes. You
Mm-hmm.
should see the way because the brothers, the biracial children down here get treated by their white mothers and their white grandmothers. So
Mm-hmm.
down here, the white grandmother, they disown their daughters for having biracial kids.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not
Disown them.
unheard of. That's not
Won't
unheard
contribute
of.
nothing to these biracial kids. So then, soon as she decides she can't take it no more, she gets rid of the man. So now the child doesn't have a father, but now her family is back contributing to her financially again.
Mm-hmm.
So she rather take this financial contribution than have a father.
And that's why I'm gonna go by the words of my pastor that is no longer at Salem Baptist Church. I believe Pastor Watson. I don't know where he at, Alabama, someplace down south. Pastor Watson said, "Be careful who you plant your seed in, and women, be careful who you allow to plant your seed in you." So that is something that, because all of those elements are there. I have seen many a times, especially at correction. Retired officer Karen Curry is in here. She know it was so many people, so many of those guys that was prejudiced and this, that, and they daughters and went and got pregnant by a black man. And I'd be like, oh, look at them beautiful grandbabies you got. But they love them grandbabies. They most of them that I've seen, they end up, they love the grandbabies. That still don't change how they feel about the father of the kids. But if that's what you do, that is something that you have to mentally, in the back of your head, you have to deal with, because you don't know what you're getting on the other side of the family, especially when it's dealing with race. So that is a huge thing when you decide to have kids. By even if it's in Asian communities, they particular about mixing the breeds. They're particular about that. It's a different religion. Jewish people, they want it not just because, not because you're black. I mean, you could be white. They want to be Jewish on Jewish. So you have to when you're doing that, because that's a decision that we make as adults, as the woman laying down with the man, as the man that's laying down with the woman. That's something you got to keep in mind, because racism is alive, and it's alive as hell right now. It is alive as hell. Karen Curry said, yeah, you remember that, Karen. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Okay, shout out time. All right, I think I shouted out everybody on here. This is Samar Akins again. I'm gonna tell you what, when you sent me the topics that you want to discuss, and then I was like, you was like civil rights movement, Dr. King, so I said, I did not know there were so many different. I mean, the big ones, of course, you know about, but I mean, it was civil rights inducted way in 1991, 1987. So when I think about it, I think about the 60s, not the 80s and the 90s. I was like, oh my God. So in 1991, the Civil Rights Act of 1991 consisted of providing the right to a trial by jury on discriminating claims, introducing the possibility of emotional distress damages, while limiting the amount in a jury the jury court could award. I did not.
Right.
I just was like, 1991, 1987. I was like, so when I think of civil rights, and I consider myself educated, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I was like, you kind of pushed the envelope for me. I was like, wow. I said, I got to tell him because you said you wanted to talk about that of Dr. Martin Luther King. Then I did a research and started looking. I was like, wow, it was civil rights movements way after Dr. Martin Luther King, 1990, 91, 1987. So y'all look that up. I was gonna put that as a question out and give somebody $10 who put in, but I didn't already gave it up. The last documented Civil Rights Act. So
Right.
1991 is what I was able to find. I was like, wow.
That's good. I mean, they do create laws on a paper that are supposed to benefit us. But I
Right,
will say this, like, right before Dr. Martin Luther King passed away, he said, I fear that I have integrated my people into a burning house because after the civil rights and the laws that they already had, they wouldn't follow the laws.
right,
And true enough, after the civil rights, they end up killing a man. Not only did they kill him, they killed John F. Kennedy and his brother
right.
as well. Anybody that was trying to advocate for us.
Exactly.
And that's why a lot of black people right now, they say they scared. They don't want to die like Dr. Martin Luther King. They scared. And like I said, the first law of nature, is self-preservation. So to a certain extent, I mean, I don't really like knock them, you know what I'm saying, or down them. But at the same time, they don't have nothing to do with what I feel that I'm called to do. And
Right.
as you said, why am I still here? I don't plan on being here that much longer. One of my homies, he was like, he might say I'm running, but I said, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm not running. It's just the fact that they're not going to change. And the ability for me to affect change, I had to look at it realistically. It's really, really hard. And, the fact that when you down here, when you try to advocate just like Dr. Martin Luther King, they retaliate against you. They say that you have the First Amendment right. They say that you have the right to this and you have this civil rights and that civil, but in reality, you really don't because they're gonna target you. Like they're gonna make sure you don't have a job. They're gonna make sure you don't have a place to stay. They're gonna make sure you don't be able to see your kids. They're gonna blackball you. They're gonna use their power.
So
You know,
retaliation is definitely real, and
definitely.
everybody, definitely
Yep,
real
correct.
because after
Yep.
after after I was representing people, I had like a 90% win rate. I was a union steward for the Fraternal Order of Police. I went up against attorneys, ex-judges, all of that. I was tearing their asses up with their own language. And of
With the
course,
law.
this is what I said I did an interview because the black folks at the county was like, oh, you can't do an interview. I said, I can do an interview. I said, nuh-uh, you're going to get fired. So I did an interview. Talked about the racism at the county. I knew I couldn't talk about any like particular inmate, give inmate names or nothing. I'm talking about the officers, the people in the blue. I'm talking about the selective application of discipline, all of that. People getting terminated versus these people doing this much stuff. Somebody minority do this much stuff. So
Right.
I got on the news and told that, and then so when I came to work, you would not believe this, Karen. You'll remember the people was like, when there's like, you didn't get fired. I said, fired for what? And that's like, I seen you on the news. I was like, hush up now, because we's in New
Yeah.
York. That's some slave type mentality. I was just like, where do you? I just could not believe how many people had like slave type mentality, and it definitely wasn't. And they definitely in that interview, I said, oh, after this, so I did a second interview, and with Tariq Alameen, and I was
Oh,
like,
where he at? How he doing?
oh, he doing good. He doing good. I just talked to him last week. So
Oh, tell
after
him I
I
said
did,
what's up.
I definitely will. After I did my interview with him, and I said,
Mhm.
now this is what's gonna happen. I said, I've never been in trouble. I've been there for 13 years. I said, but after this interview airs, I said, then they're gonna start a paper trail on me. After a paper trail, after they get about 2 or 3, I said, that's how people coming and looking at every damn thing that I do. I said, after that, they'll send me to a hearing. Then they'll send me to about 4 or 5 back-to-back hearings. And they say, oh, well, I said, they'll do that in about 30 to 45 days. I said, they want it instantly. They want to try to make an example out of me. And they did exactly that. I got fired, and I filed a lawsuit against him. And my boy Trent Hall, Officer Trent Hall, because he had called me after I did my, he said, Sarge, he said, you are so brave. He said, you did so good. And so he recorded that. That's when the DVR first came out. He recorded that. So now this is what I'm telling you. So it's a place, Karen, what is that name of the place? Universal something here, where they keep 15, 20 years of every local television program that's on TV. They keep a tape of it. So I called them. Miraculously, my tape is only a year and a half old. They can't find it. So I was like, because when I told my attorney, I said, no, I said exactly what they was going to do. And then so Trent Hall said, oh, Sarge, I got a video. He said, but it's on the TV. And I didn't have DVR. I said, what you mean it's on the TV? He said, well, I was able to record you. So me and my daughter came with my camcorder, put it in front of his TV, recorded that. Boom. I put that as an exhibit. After they seen that tape, they said, we ready to settle.
Wow.
Let's go to mediation. So
I know.
So yeah, I know you know. So damn, everything you said is just bringing me back to the shit that happened to me. Damn, that is exactly how it happened to me too. When you speak out, you become a target. It's no way around it. You're gonna become.
But you know what? Like down here, we can't get lawyers. Like down here, like the ladies in the police department and people in the fire department, they basically saying that they getting harassed and retaliated against, but they get attorneys to represent them, and they win in lawsuits, $100,000 lawsuits. But when black individuals in this city, like myself, we can't get, they won't represent us in civil rights matter. Matter of fact, I'm in the process of filing litigations against one of these attorneys down here now because I got referred to her 3 different times for civil rights help, and she turned me down. She's white. She turned me down 3 different times. So the civil rights lawyers down here, these white civil rights lawyers, they're going to help the Latinos. They're going to help the Asians, everybody but blacks. So Lincoln got a serious problem.
If they are practicing law in Lincoln, that is in Nebraska. So you can reach outside of Lincoln to the ACLU, American Civil Liberties, or civil rights attorneys. You can reach out. You don't have to get an attorney in Lincoln. You can reach out and throughout the entire state of Nebraska. And sometimes they have a national ACLU. So if you want to reach out to them, you can contact them and see if they can find you a lawyer within the state of Nebraska. You don't have to get an attorney in Lincoln.
Okay, so the Nebraska State Bar Association is here, but guess what? They all white. And they are
the Bar Association is there. Okay. That's as the capital. That is where the Bar Association is.
The Bar Association. And that's where they refer you to get the attorney. They refer you there, Chantel, to get an attorney from them.
You can go to the American
Legal Aid Society. Right?
You can go there on your own. Yes, you can go there on your own. You don't have to get referred through the Nebraska State Bar. But if they did refer you, that should come as an extra incentive for representation. So I see where you're saying that lack of representation, even though you have the referral. Okay, yes. Let's see what we have in here in the comments. Strong Black woman and definitely a threat to their system. Okay, Sister Karen, I hear you. I feel you. Chantella Wallace is a strong Black woman. Okay.
Hey, they don't know. They probably don't even know what you did, what you went through, huh? How you stepped up.
You already know. Tynell says 2024, not much has changed. Disappointing. Very disappointing that we are going backward. Jane Pendergrass says, what about the National Bar Association? So she's giving you, Jane is very, very smart. One of my avid watchers. She said, try the Nebraska Bar Association. I'm going to also look up some stuff for you too and see what I can find as far as I'll talk to you off camera about what the issue is, because depending on what your issue is, the determining factor of what type of attorney you want to find you. So
Can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing before we go? All right. You know, Ernie Chambers was part of the legislature forever, right? Mm-hmm. And he made the filibuster famous, right?
Right. National.
You know, look. But you know why? It was 2 reasons that he did that. You know, one reason was that, you know, he was trying to disrupt their unjust laws, right? And then the other reason was his dissatisfaction in him not being able to get laws passed for us. The same thing Terrell McKinney is going through right now. Mm-hmm. And the brother Justin Wayne. They putting forth these laws, right? But they can't convince these other racist senators to support the legislation that's going to benefit the African American community. So it's really so Ernie Chambers came up with the filibuster. Said, if I'm not getting my law passed, y'all not getting y'all law passed at all. So now in
Right.
that sense, I believe the brother Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney, they need to be transparent about what's really going on in that unicameral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the only thing I would ask for them is to be transparent because I know what they're going against. And even if they get something passed, it still got to go to the governor. He's a Republican. He's probably not going to, you know, because of the
Right. It's a
conservatism.
process. It's a process, and this is the thing that people have to understand too. Politics. We all do politics. I do politics. I know if I want to get something, if I need. Now, I'm not selling myself out to the devil, but I definitely know politics is in everything. I mean, if I want to go on the radio station, I have to change. You know, some of the, I won't be able to speak freely. I'll be able to say the same things, but I can't use profanity. I have to, you know. There's changes and adjustments that you have to make. You're going to have to make throughout life. Every room you enter, you may have to adjust how you talk, how you look, how you dress. When you go to court, you should be dressed like a business person. That is because you in court. When you outside of court, you should dress however you want to. That's just the respect, the aspect of respect for me. But not everybody follows that. But you know, we all have to fall in line. This is not a country that allows, except for Trump, allows anybody to do anything that they want to without consequences. So there's consequences to everything, but we definitely have to, you know, some things, if we want something, you know, Terrell McKinney can go in there and say, this is what I want. Sometimes he's going to have to give up something to get what he think that will be more, that will his constituents will benefit from. He might have to give up this, so but you're not going to get every single thing that you want. And I definitely believe those brothers, Justin Waynes, have done some great things. And Terrell McKinney, I know he is a fighter. I have seen him.
Reparations. Terrell got that reparations bill.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he got a lot of bills going in. He has a lot of bills going in. So we want to shout both of them brothers out.
Yeah, for
Justin
sure.
Wayne
Justin
and
Wayne and Terrell. Justin,
Terrell,
my
I
boy
will
though.
be having you on the show. I do want to say this before I forget. The Republicans, again, I don't know why these people, and I don't even just, I don't know why anybody would vote and us align with somebody who wants to keep medication high as hell, who don't want the government or people to be able to negotiate with insurance company, who wants to block getting student loans. That's not a black thing. That's an everybody thing. Who wants it? So just here today, the Republicans has the Republican. So listen here, people. I'm just telling you, just like this. On those midterms, start voting. Vote these damn judges out. Do your background and research. The ballots are available early. Do your research. Get these damn judges out of here. It ain't that many. It's a lot of Republican judges in here, but these same people are making laws. These same people, the senators, the lawmakers, are making law. The general election, every election is important, not just the general election. The midterms elections, the primary, that's determining who's going to be on the ballot. Now here they are. Then the conservative. What do we got? Three Democrat and what? How many? We got three to five. It's
Oh,
an odd number.
and let's don't forget about
Three to
Preston, huh?
six.
Let's
Wait a
don't
minute.
forget about Preston.
Hold on
Preston
for a minute.
Love.
I want to make my
Okay.
point on this. They today stopped Joe Biden from issuing out. The Joe Biden them, you know, they've been fighting them on the student loan relief.
Mm-hmm.
They've already done 40 billion. They have stopped them from issuing out. They want to clear everybody's student loan. So the Republicans and stop that again. They tried to stop lowering the medication price for insulin. So they want to stop everything. So why you want to vote for them, I have no idea. But yeah, we're going to give Preston Love a shout out.
Preston.
I haven't seen Preston. I interviewed Preston. I haven't seen any commercial ads or anything. Is he still running?
Yeah, he came down here. Yeah, he's still running. He came down here to the church and spoke at the church down here. Yeah, Preston's still running. That's my boy.
He spoke at the rally that I was at, the Walls rally. He spoke at the Walls rally. They gave him a lot of time. I don't know if he ran over his, because you know black folks will run over time. We will run over time. So I don't know if he ran over his time or not. I just want to say one more thing about, because I know you were upset about the diversity program getting axed from UNL. Now that just from what I read and the information that you've given me, That black man might have been brought here. He came here because of the riots. They didn't know. They didn't know the protest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the protest. These people here in Nebraska, they're like, oh no, this don't happen here. I mean, that happened. We see that on the TV someplace else. But I believe he may have been sent here to set up that program, knowing it was going to be limited, like it was a cutoff day. Okay, well, we just gonna need you here for a few years to calm these Negroes down because they up here cutting up. They got the white kids. And see, when the white people join your cause, baby, when you seen those young white people out here protesting like they was crazy, shit, honey, they like when those white kids get in there, oh, it's a whole different ball game right now. It's a whole different ball game right now. Oh, yes, Precious is definitely doing her thing. I'm going to shout Precious out until the election because Precious got me in places that I wouldn't have been able to get in. I was on the rises back there. Oh, yeah, Precious is doing her thing. Did you watch the DNC convention, Samar?
Yeah.
Did you see Precious on there?
Yeah, I mean, we working. Precious she's actively working with us with our problems. She can't believe it. She's saying, how is it possible we got a Republican mayor in Lincoln that's doing more for the people of color than y'all, and y'all have a Democratic mayor in the city of Lincoln, and she's not doing nothing for y'all. Yeah, Precious is working. She's working with us.
Y'all got
through the federal, trying to get the federal government. Yeah, we got a Democratic mayor.
What?
And she won't even meet with us. She's not doing nothing. She said she appointed.
This is the thing. She may have ran as a Democrat because that's what they do. And she really a Republican. We don't know. Now,
yeah, that's what everybody says.
If she ain't shown Democratic values all this time, but all of a sudden is a Democrat, then that's what they do. Because then they on a win-win. Okay, I'm about to show my T-shirt, y'all. The T-shirts are $25.
Hey now.
This is, you see prosecutor, felon. You see this fool right here is backwards. You see that fool right there, and then since he don't know how to pronounce her name, we gonna phonetically tell you how to do it. And guess what? We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. The T-shirts are $25. I have up to 3X. I got like 15 shirts left. I have women. You can get the T-shirts are unisex, or either women. I did have women because I know some women, some girls like I just like the women's shirts. So I ordered some women's shirts too. So y'all can get these. But Samar, you already know you have been on Stay Woke before. You have watched us since the beginning. You already know you are on the hottest podcast in the Midwest, the only podcast that shouts you out in real time and answer questions in real time. But you already know at the end of the show, you already know what time it is. If you don't know what time it is, shame on you, Samar. This time is the Talk Your Shit segment. This is the time we get, well, man, you've been talking shit all day. But anyway,
all day,
this is the Talk Your Shit segment. You get to point out something that you is sick and tired of. Something you sick and tired of. You just want the people to know, I'm sick and tired of this shit. Go on and talk your shit, Samar.
All right. Well, I mean, I ain't gonna just say too much. It seems like everything that I talk about in this city revolves around, this racism and the discrimination. Because
talk your shit, baby.
I mean, I really haven't even got into like the depths of the racism of what we had during the Black Lives Matter. We had Black Leaders Movement. They started. Guess what? They got ran out of town because of death threats. I saw them. I was out there with them. You know how many trucks was trying to run us over? Right here, and I'm talking about them big old monster trucks was trying to run us over here in the city of Lincoln, and the police didn't do nothing. They got them kids scared to death. That's what I'm saying. Like the people in Lincoln are so scared to speak up because they get death threats. They get retaliated. It's Lincoln. Lincoln is a mess. It's unbelievable. It's like Mississippi. It's really bad. It's really like Mississippi. They totally anti-black. And the same thing with the brother that was for I apologize because I don't remember his name, but he was the coach of UNL for intern for a minute, the black brother, and then they tried to set him up. Yeah, try to say he did this to his wife, because they didn't want a black coach. They was getting pressured. ESPN put a list of black coaches because they found out that Nebraska had never had a black coach. Right. So they put a list.
All them black dudes, running all them black guys.
Yep. And you see what happens. So they serious about it. But before I go, I just like to give you your props again too. And people need to understand that we getting old. We've been doing this for a while. So we got to pass the torch, you know what I'm saying, to the younger generation. And these parents need to be instilling these values, these morals and their principles in their kids, because they're going to be the future leaders when we too old to walk and talk. So we need to do like Joe Biden did and pass that torch.
That's right.
That's
That's
all
right.
I got
And
to say.
he passed it. He passed it right on time. Was in the zone for the torch to the baton to be passed. Didn't miss a beat. So I want to say before I talk my shit, I want to say shout out 87.9 the culture. And when I say the culture, it's the culture. That is DJ Soul's radio station. So he reached out to me. We talked about me possibly doing the show from the radio station. I would definitely have a bigger, broader audience. He told me to come in for a tour, y'all. I get in there, go in, and
Right.
sit down. Put the mic right in my face. So I mean, this shit. I said it's set up like the Breakfast Club, but we ain't doing nothing like the Breakfast Club. We gonna call this the lunch counter. I mean, he got the mics, the cameras. I think he did a live test last week. But I had so much fun. I didn't know I was going to be on the radio. So I'm glad that I ended up getting dressed. I said, well, let me put on some clothes in case I want to go somewhere, because I was just going to throw on some jogging pants and a t-shirt. And I said, let me put on some clothes. So I'm glad I was looking halfway decent to get in there. So he had me on the radio station. Oh my goodness, we talked about everything. He was so even Shiffy. My daughter will tell you she didn't been interviewed by magazines, did TV shows, everything. She to this day she say Soul was the best person that interviewed her. He goes in. We talked about so much stuff. Then the next day I was on the radio again because they were talking about side chicks. So I had to go in and step up for the side chicks. I said, there's plenty of side chicks that save people marriages. Y'all better be thanking that side chick. Y'all better be thanking that side chick for saving y'all marriage. But we're going to talk about that next week on Stay Woke. So next week, I'm going to see if I can get Soul on. And as a matter of fact, I may go to the radio station to interview him. But we got a meeting set up for Sunday. So hopefully, if the terms and conditions and everything work out, I need everybody right now, everybody to download 87.9 The Culture. The radio station is good and off the hook. When I say I went in there and I was so impressed, Samar, I'm not easily impressed. And y'all
No,
stay woke.
not at all.
I'm not easily impressed. I don't just
You
give
bougie.
props. Yeah,
You
I don't
super
give
bougie.
props when props is not due, Samar.
That's
I ain't
awesome.
coming like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have to give
Bougie.
him props. The layout is
Now
top
you gotta give
notch.
yourself props. You put in the work. That's why he's interested in you. You sacrificing a lot to do what you're doing and you're doing it for the community. You representing for North Omaha. You representing for your people. That takes a lot of hard work, dedication, determination, and sacrifice.
Well, I
You doing that. You deserve everything you're getting right now and more.
thank you. I appreciate you. That's what my daughter said. I appreciate you. I need y'all to give Samar stars. This man came in here. He had me doing research. Y'all know I'll be on it already, but he had me doing research. So I want to thank you, Samar, for joining the Stay Woke crew, because we don't get too many men. He was on here last week with 3 other men. I was like, the other guy, he's out of town because he's like, oh, I'll be out of town, but I'm coming back to watch Stay Woke the next time I'm here.
Yeah.
So,
Listen, it's y'all time right now. It's the sister. I'm gonna tell you what the Bible said. This is what God said in the Bible. God said, because men are not fulfilling their godly responsibilities, a woman is going to surpass a man. God said He's going to put the woman above a man, because us men, like you said, we're not participating in nothing. We're not doing nothing. We're not getting active. We watching our kids out here getting killed, gang banging, and we're not doing nothing about it. So God said, okay, y'all want to do that? Okay, I'm going to let the woman take over now. So it's already written in the Bible. It's y'all time,
Hey, who we got right here? Look,
come on.
here we
Hey,
go. We got a woman for president. I need everybody.
you too. You too, though,
If y'all ain't registered to vote, get registered. You can register online. Get your early ballot. This is a historical presidency election, so I may vote in person. I usually vote in person because I like to. But during the general election, during the primaries and stuff, I do vote by ballot. But if you got ballots, if you need rides, I've already taken November 5th off. If anybody needs rides, need me to pick up their ballots, drop their ballots, I'll put them in the ballot box. Let me know. If your grandmother need me to do it, let me know. I'm going to try to get my son in with me to do early rides and drop-offs and things like that. So if you got a ballot, let me know. If you have any questions about the candidates on the ballot, call me. Y'all can inbox me. Most of y'all got my number anyway. So this is the time that we say goodbye. So Samar, again, thank you for joining us on Stay Woke.
No, thank
You
you.
already know.
I'm on your show. It's your show. I'm just a guest.
We thank you for being the guest. Everybody, we already know before you go to sleep, you got to do what? Blah, blah, blah. Stay woke. Stay on Samara.